Okay, so like I said, welcome Frost. Uh, how's your day?
I'm doing wonderful, Priest. How is your day?
Great. Yeah, I had so far it's been one of those days when like I I just I went to bed at like 1 a.m., which is really good for me, and then
Mhm.
at like at like 5, I was like, that's enough sleep for me, I think. So I just kind of just waited around until Wendy's was open, and then I went and I got that Wendy's breakfast, um, and then I was like super productive for a few hours, by which I mean I watched like 5 episodes of Black Books, um, and then I went to
It all
sleep,
sounds like a great morning.
and then I went to sleep, and then I just woke up, and now here we are. I kind of just teleport throughout my day and by napping.
Yeah, recently I've kind of been on the go to sleep decently early, wake up even earlier, do like one thing, and then go back to sleep, and then wake up at a regular time.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know. I feel like siesta might be the wave, but like not like a real siesta type deal, but like call it that so that it sounds better than what it is.
Yeah, so it sounds like it was intentional and planned, and you have your life together, you know.
Yeah, it's always I think that's really that's the secret to I think a lot of things is you figure out what it is that you are already doing and then you come up with a term for it so that it sounds like it's intentional.
Hard agree.
Yeah. And it's only difficult to try and get into a new habit. It's immensely easy to justify the ones you already have.
Exactly.
But yeah, thank you for joining me on this Wumble Wednesday. Uh, it's a beautiful day here in Indianapolis. It's one of our here's let me paint a picture of how the weather's been. Last week it snowed. Um, this week it's like 70, 80 degrees. And the week before that it was like also 70, 80 degrees.
Here in Los Angeles County, it's just varying levels of warm as usual.
Uh, must be nice.
It is. And I won't feel bad.
That's one thing I think that well, I mean, there's obviously a lot of things I could complain about when it comes to the pandemic, but one thing is that no, usually most years I get out to California for one reason or another. I would
Mhm.
say more years than not. Um, but just for the past, because I think like the year before I was just like really busy finishing up school and there wasn't really anything to go out there for. Uh, and then now these past like year and a half has just been solid. Don't go anywhere. So I don't know if I'm just going to find whatever con is open later this year when I'm fully vaxxed and when it's sort of safe, and just find an excuse. I'm just gonna I'm just gonna knock on like Cam Steady's door and be like, please, you don't understand. It's been so long.
Human interaction, please. There a con going on in here? Like this is my apartment.
This is where I live. This I'm just sort of just drinking in front of the TV. That's a con, right? I haven't been in a minute, but that's what I remember from.
You got merch in there.
I know you got merch in there. Open up.
Tables.
This is the shower. I know you got merch.
Great Cam Steady cosplay.
Rap video game rap battle me right now, Cam Steady. I'll be Sonic the Hedgehog. Um, you can be the left paddle from Pong.
The left battle.
I kind of I kind of want to do like a series of classic arcade game songs just to kind of get the gamer crowd in and so people you know, will remember that I'm a real nerdcore rapper. I'm not like an anime trap guy.
Of
I
course.
rap about video games and stuff, not just anime. And but I want it to be like, yeah, like Tetris, like the left paddle from Pong. Ooh, I wrote a Tetris bar the other day. Do you want to hear it?
I do.
Okay. I don't think I wrote the whole thing, but it was like mow down 4 blocks with this long piece was the punchline.
Okay. Is this part of your drill phase? I could see it.
Mow down 4 blocks with a long piece. Yeah, no, it's the cadence. It's the cadence. uh,
I think someone should make a Dig Dug song. I don't know why. I just feel like it'd be good.
if I made a Dig Dug song, it would be about how it took me way too long to figure out how to play that game, and I just kept getting hit with like falling rocks.
Yeah, I would. Did you do the thing where you'd like attack them once, and then they would just like de-inflate, and then you're like, what did I do wrong?
Yeah, yeah. And then also like that thing where you don't have to take out all of the like creatures to advance. You just have to like get away. I think at least in some of the levels, that was confusing because I was like, oh no, I'm out of falling rocks. But then that pump thing, is that TNT? Are you like, or are you inflating them? It's these
I
very
thought you were inflating them.
these very
That was
low
my
res
assumption.
games are just horribly confusing sometimes. Camo 324 says I'm playing Dig Dug and y'all are big dumb. I can't deny that on my account. Uh, it like I said, it took me way too long. If I
Is he insulting us, or is that supposed to be a bar?
It might be a bar. I'm playing Dig Dug. I'm playing Dig Dug and y'all are big dumb. Uh, you
The
inflate them.
the Doug Dumb rhyme is a little questionable, but
It
you could let it
works. See, it works in drill if you've got that really sort of thick accent going on.
slide.
Because dog and dumb are like very close.
Sure.
uh, apparently you inflate them, says Camo.
Okay.
If I had to figure out how to play classic arcade games like on my own quarter instead of them being free at most places that I play them, I would be bankrupt or I would hate video games.
I could see that. Yeah, I'm definitely like if I'm putting in my hard-earned quarter that my mom gave me into a machine
Yeah.
just for me to die 2 seconds later and be like, well, I learned nothing.
Oh
I
yeah.
might look at games a bit different.
Yeah, like one of my favorite arcade games is The Dragon's Lair. And like I die in that game so frequently. And sometimes like before I even get past like the first couple things because I just forget how to do it every time. But I guess that's like that's sort of a product of there not really being a lot of local arcades anymore where people go and like consistently play the same games. Like usually when I've been to an arcade, I don't know, whenever I've been to an arcade, it's usually like a mix of like sort of like middle-aged-ish crowd who like they're playing the games because they're the games they grew up with and they're really good at them.
Right.
Or it's like kids who have no idea what's going on and are and sort of get frustrated. And then you have like the occasionally you've got like the sort of like spot competitive player who's like younger but is still insanely good at the game.
Has got like one game that they're about to hog for the next 3 hours as they try and beat their own high score while they make up the top 10 spots already.
Yeah. Have you ever gotten the high score on a significant game?
Definitely in my youth as a Chuck E. Cheese fanatic.
Okay.
I've definitely run up the score on a couple of those games, beat up some kids.
Shout out the mouse. Shout out their what's their version of Whack-A-Mole? I don't know if they still have it. that was my go-to back in the day. I never cared for that game where you just scoop bees, but I think I liked it when I got older.
I've never heard of that game, but scooping bees sounds terrifying.
So I think what it is basically is it's like there's like a bunch of like ping pong balls in a thing, and there's like a fan that like blows them up in the air, and then you have a net and you like scoop them.
Okay, that sounds.
Yeah.
Okay. No, no, it's all coming back. I know what this game is.
Yeah. I've been to a Chuck E. Cheese within the past couple years. Some of my friends from college and I just decided, sort of apropos of nothing, that we were going to go there and sort of try and recapture like our last slice of childhood before it disappeared forever. And it was not bad. Everything was there. A lot of stuff was very different. A lot of stuff was more sterile. Um, well, for I guess this was like, I think this was like pre. Yes, this would have been pre-pandemic. So it wasn't sterile because of pandemic reasons. It was just like a lot safer. Like it was clearly the product of like a lot of lawsuits. I think is what it was.
I see. There's multiple ways to progress, you know.
Yeah. What I remember is that any game that involved physical strength was very easy to get the high score on. Um,
Makes sense.
uh, and then yeah, it was mostly just skee ball, for me. That's my go-to wherever I go.
Yeah, I remember. There's a Chuck E. Cheese very very close to where I am and where I grew up, so I went a lot. I definitely remember there being like a shift at some certain age where it no longer became about like, oh, let's check out all the fun games. It's like, all right, what is the most efficient way that I can get these tickets, because
Uh-huh.
I'm getting these damn prizes.
Yep.
And eventually it was just like, okay, like I was never great at basketball, but I found the Chuck E. Cheese basketball to be very easy and very efficient at getting tickets. So it was definitely just like spam this until I have as much tickets as I want, and I can get whatever dumb
One of
gift that I
those,
want.
yeah, one of those plastic frogs where you press on the back and it jumps.
Yeah,
Uh,
or whatever shitty Bluetooth or speaker or whatever that barely worked.
I feel like I definitely redeemed for like candy and small prizes. I never really accumulated a lot of tickets, but I definitely didn't play games if they didn't give you tickets.
Mm.
There's probably a lot of games that I walked by and I was like, "Oh, that looks fun," and then I saw it gave you no tickets, and I was like, "Well, that's a ripoff." And I just wouldn't play it.
I was definitely the type to like save tickets
Uh-huh.
up until like I could come back and then get the bigger thing. But
Yeah.
then I definitely did that to the point to where like I was way too old for Chuck E. Cheese, and
Hmm.
so it meant that like little cousins and people that would come in town would just get my tickets, and I'm like, I don't really want the tickets, but I now feel a certain way that my tickets are being used by someone else.
I mean, that was like, I think, the most sort of like serotonin inducing part of going to Chuck E. Cheese as, a college student, was that like I had no earthly use for these tickets anymore. Like any prize that I could get in their token economy, like we could walk next door and buy a thing with our regular uh, like like full grown person money.
U.S.
Um
currency.
yeah. So like just racking up just like a huge stack of tickets and then handing it to some random kid like as we walk out the door, like that's the best part of it.
Mm.
Because to that kid it's like they've just been handed like $1 million cash. Like that's their sort of reaction. And since I'll probably never get to hand somebody $1 million cash, like that's that's the easiest way for me to experience sort of that level of
Same boost.
altruism. Uh, Yeah. So I wanted to ask some like, or at least like bring up some like sort of relevant nerdcore stuff because I feel like it would just be a waste to have you on and not talk about like actual sort of nerdcore community stuff. Um, so the first one is like pretty. This is like what they would say if you went on like a real talk show. You know, it's like a boring question, but I was interested to know. Do you have
Always gotta get this out of the way.
Okay, do you have like a top like favorite uh moment or couple moments from any of the compilations that you've done? Like the Twitch compilations?
Oh, favorite moment.
Because I know you just
There's
did like a sort of like like a mega compilation of the very top ones.
mhm.
But are those sort of your favorites or like the most popular ones?
It was a mix. Some of those are definitely like my favorites, and some of those like, well, this is the most popular, or some of them was just like, well, this is the only clip that I could use. But it's really hard for me to choose like a single clip.
Yeah.
But like the ones that have been like living in my head rent free recently are both from that most recent video. There's the one with it was on Near Blackwell stream where where you can hear Jason in the back saying, "Hey Mir, you know my brother that was in jail. He told me that like I need to learn how to produce and yada yada yada." And then you hear
Yes.
someone in the back goes like, "Huh?" Like he need to learn how to produce. He need to learn how to not be in jail. And it's like he's worried about the wrong type of
Wrong
bars.
type of bars. I that one is so solid and I think I don't remember the exact timeline because I don't remember if I was lurking in that call or not because I could not remember because Jason's brother was something that I had referenced in our last battle and
Mhm.
I genuinely still have no idea how I knew that. I don't think the timeline was right that clip had shown up in a compilation before. Um, I think I had either just been lurking in that call or just like another call around that time when he was talking about it, and just happened to catch like a 5 second thing and be like, if what I'm remembering is accurate and it never is, that could be like the hottest bar of my whole round. And then it turned out to work, which is very
It
rare for
did.
me. But so I have a special affection for for that clip. I don't know. I think some of the ones that really just like stay in my head, um, big time are the Brayton Strawberry join you in 5 minutes. I mean that's probably the one that I like just reference the most frequently.
That's definitely a classic.
Howdy, Drago Dan and Lyndon in the chat, and Mystery Muffin and Avocado. When did you get here?
Howdy.
Lyndon's in the chat, so I gotta type as I always do. Lyndon, all caps. Wagwan lad, all caps. That's the rule. Even if it's my own stream, I have to say hello to Lyndon
Of course.
in the chat in all caps.
The world isn't right unless you always acknowledge London.
Yeah, yeah. It's it do be tradition, says Lyndon. Lyndon is one of those people where I can read his messages and tweets, and in my head they are purely in his voice. And there's only a few
Yeah,
people where that applies. Like Breton Boy is definitely one. Lyndon, of course, is another. Uh,
Mir.
Mir, yeah, Mir and Schwabity.
Him laughing as he says something.
Yeah. uh, I like that Mir has a lot of like sort of I don't know if you'd call them catchphrases, but just like just things that he's going to say at some point in a conversation. So it's usually like that's what I'm saying and talk to him. are gonna pop up a
Yeah,
lot. So sometimes when I'm like reading one of his tweets, that sort of like I'll read it, and then that one of those phrases will also sort of make its way
you got to
in.
add that on to the end.
Uh, yeah, but congrats on 1K, by the way.
Thank you. It's been faster than expected.
It's much deserved. And do you have you gotten those 4,000 watch hours yet? You making bank?
I'm very close to getting that awesome like McDonald's money.
Yeah. Uh, well, everyone make sure to subscribe to Is That Frost and run up all those videos because YouTube just likes you more when your channel's monetized.
Yeah, I'm like 200 or so away.
Oh yeah,
So
you'll get that in no time.
yeah, I'll
Especially
get it.
because your videos are longer.
Yeah,
Me with my like 2-3 minute videos trying to rack that up. It's just like, you know what? I have old episodes of the Breakfreeced Club on my main channel. Please just watch those. And then, yeah, once I sent people to those, it just went like, just like shot up immediately. Got there.
yeah. I was assuming I would get it on the special, which I'll
Mm-hmm.
probably get it like the video after because it's like, oh, I'm getting like, like say 6 minutes average view duration on my like 8 to 10 minute videos. So
Yeah.
on the 20 minute, I should get like 12 minutes, but I got like 7, and I'm like, oh, well, well, I tried.
uh, um, Yeah, what I'll say is there's a lot of rewatch value in any of those compilations, especially because they're all well, except for that the mega compilation, but like the regular ones are all segmented out, tabbed out, and everything.
Mhm.
Um, I love any video that does that. I don't think that it makes like I guess maybe I could do that in my reactions, but my reactions don't really have a very good like format to them. They're sort of all just one thing from beginning to end. Uh, but yeah, no, I love how like tidy, how tidy those videos are, and how easy to navigate.
Yeah, it's nice. I've seen people in reactions like separate it by like like intro, like post song analysis or whatever, and then like by verse, like whatever artist is currently playing in the song that they're reacting to. And I'm like, I don't know if this is useful, but it sure is nice.
It just looks nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forget if it's Digital Donuts or Lazy King or somebody. It's somebody who reacts to my songs pretty consistently does it, and it doesn't make any actual difference to like how much of the video that I watch, but I still it I don't know. It just makes me feel more like organized inside my head when I watch it. It doesn't make any actual sense, but I guess it doesn't need to.
Yeah, I think what I would appreciate it for is there are certain reactors who like to do maybe too much talking in their intro.
Yeah, yeah,
Sometimes you just want to, you want to get to their thoughts on the topic at hand.
yeah. I always like it when you have like the big long like musical introduction screen that goes on a little too long. It's like some like crazy hard hitting like dubstep intro from 2011.
Gotta have the 3D text and everything.
Yep. YouTube intromaker.com or whatever. Um, and then they'll have like a really like laid back personality. That's what it was like when the intro is like way more hype than the video. Uh,
That's always a fun time.
what's good, King Dan in chat? Hope you're doing well.
I love King Dan.
Oh yeah, gotta. So here's something I was wondering. Well, wondering sort of your take on because it's something that I feel like it's a topic that you more than me, but sort of all of Nerdcore has been pondering in different ways for the last few months, especially. Um, but I don't know. I feel like the direct question is like we've had a lot of little fires and bigger fires in Nerdcore recently.
Uh,
Um, we've had I feel like a fair amount of like one-on-one drama or like a semblance of it. Um, I feel like more so we've had instances where it seems like somebody has beef with like air quotes the nerdcore community, like as a
mhm.
whole. It's sort of just like one person being like, "Screw nerdcore" in general, you know.
Yeah.
And then that I think along with like sort of um a little bit of like a confusion of terms or disagreement of terms of like what nerdcore actually is. I think those two things together have provided a lot of like just overall drama. Uh, disregarding instances of people who were sort of, uh, you know, did things that had nothing to do with nerdcore and are no longer sort of welcome. Um, but like, do you think that drama keeps nerdcore or like any community relevant? Like, do you think it's like a necessary part of a community that's going to continue to exist?
um, so like, I guess like I'm just gonna like agree, but re change out the phrasing, because I don't think it is necessary for a community to exist, but I think that any community that is growing is going to have this. It will just always happen. I don't think there's a way for a community like this large to grow and not have these little fires happen every now and then. Or just it's just kind of the nature of human beings in groups to fight over little things.
Yeah. So more of growing pains than of like it more signals the you think in this case it more signals like the expansion of something rather than its collapse.
Yeah, like I think there definitely there's definitely a line to where like depending on what the fights are about and how often they're happening and how big they are, that it could signify like a collapse and a negative. But I think right now it's not that the fights are positive, but they're because Nerdcore is moving in a positive direction.
Yeah. What do you think that direction is? Do you think it's like a convergence or a split? Like if that's too vague, I can I can clarify what I mean.
Um, sure, clarify.
Okay. So like we were talking about a second ago, uh sort of the like what I would call the like confusion of terms or disagreement of terms over like what nerdcore is, how it differs from like, sort of the old school nerdcore versus video game rap versus anime rap versus YouTube rap, and how like some of those lines are being blurred, some of those like feels like some people are being very careful to like they don't want to be classified as nerdcore because I think they just don't want to be put in a box. But like, do you think that the overall future of nerdcore tends more towards like uh people like doing sort of just like all of the everything sort of converging and people just doing multiple things, or do you think it's like very like subgenre heavy, like okay, anime trap for instance is like its own thing over here, and then like video game rap is its own thing over here? Because I feel like it's sort of been like that, but at the same time there's definitely a lot of the top nerdcore artists right now that have crossed over and done both.
Yeah,
I mean somebody like Rustage, for instance, who's sort of like the guy in
right.
definitely in anime rap, and I'd say one of in nerdcore in general. Um, I mean, like a lot of his most popular stuff earlier on was video game rap. I mean, did a ton of video game rap, and then now he's sort of like the anime rapper. Um, but do you see like a more of a convergence or more of like a split?
So this is like almost a non-answer, but I would say like it's both and at the same time in just different areas. So like I would say that like there is a convergence in community to where um, more people are going to start kind of accepting that nerdcore label and kind of associating with all the people that make up the group that is nerdcore. And I think that like some of the fights that we just talked about are trying to potentially push back from even being part of a certain community because they feel it's limiting because we haven't reached like the until we reach like a certain level, it's just going to
Mm-hmm.
be like that. But I think once that happens, once we reach that level, like okay, like we all agree that this is all nerdcore, then we're going to see a split, and people are going to break off a little bit more again into their more subgenre groups to find more common ground. Because once something gets too big, it kind of becomes hard to associate with everyone and kind of find common ground because it's too big. And so then that'll split into subgenres, and then those subgenres will grow. And I guess we'll see what happens from there.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Like I feel like one of the things that I see right now is it's like two sorts of like exclusion, where like I see um people who are like people who are in nerdcore uh occasionally trying to like gatekeep what is and isn't nerdcore, and then that way keep people out of nerdcore. Um, and then I see people whose music is what most people would describe as nerdcore, but also trying to exclude themselves from nerdcore because they don't want to be associated with it because, like you said, like it feels like it might be limiting right now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think that that's definitely a problem that you get when a genre is defined by more by topic than by musical style,
Right.
because that's not. I mean, that's not typical. Like that's not how the charts work, really.
Yeah. There are some genres that do that, but generally that's not just the name of a genre doesn't key you into what they're
Yeah,
going to talk about or to sing about
like
explicitly.
for me, a sort of uh, like a bit of a goofy analogy, but like um is like a lot of people, myself included, will like refer to like Christian contemporary music as like Jesus fandom music. But like the parallel is there because the what makes it that is it's all like around a certain topic rather than a certain genre um of like musical style. And like think that's what you see with like I mean back in the day like doing pony music or horse music. And then like all the Five Nights at Freddy's stuff, um, and which like I never did, but a lot of people did. Um, and then even like furry music being its own thing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
like music where it's around a certain topic, um, rather than and not even a certain topic, but a certain like what would you say like uh, I guess set of topics like style, but more like lifestyle, I guess, rather than musical style.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, those things cross over in some genres. I mean, country music is sort of like it's made by a lot of people that, oh, by a lot of people who don't share a common lifestyle, but their music portrays that they do.
Right.
Um,
And it's kind of like even in like nerdcore, it's like it started as, nerdcore hip hop was nerdcore, but
Right.
we're seeing, especially in the YouTube community, people that are just straight up not hip hop, not rappers, and have no like need to do that or want to
Hmm.
do that, and we're still accepting them as nerdcore. So that is giving it even less of a label and expanding it even more. And it's like once we're gonna there's a limit to how far you can expand nerdcore before people will just automatically feel the need to associate more with the subgenre of their choosing, whether it be anime rap or anime trap, blah blah blah.
Yeah, that's one of the one of the interesting things. Oh, real quick, shout out Digs of Prophecy in the chat.
So
Rainy
thanks.
days, Zayna Kitty. Hope y'all are doing well. Dan asked earlier, "How are you two?" I'm doing well. Um,
Great.
but what one of the things that I think is interesting is that yeah, like that the that nerdcore has the term has now expanded to include non hip hop because I feel like I mean decades ago we had bands like Nerf Herder, who like I would describe. I mean, with a name like Nerf Herder, first of all, um,
Yeah, kind of keying us into what you're about to do.
yeah, and then like just a lot of their subject matter, like I feel like they and their whole sort of like their aura, their presence, like the stuff they sang about and sort of were interested in, like I think now they could easily be a nerdcore band. Um, but obviously that like term didn't apply at the time. But I feel like retroactively. But then it's like, how far back do you do that, right? Because Led Zeppelin wrote songs about Lord of the Rings. So I mean, Led Zeppelin original nerdcore band, maybe.
Yeah. And it's like with that, it's like I think it's okay to like retroactively put songs in a certain category, but I think you have to like leave room to be like, okay, this is a nerdcore song, but a nerdcore song doesn't make a nerdcore artist or a nerdcore band.
Yeah, no,
And,
that's. I mean, that's another really good point. It's like, at what point are you a nerdcore artist? Is it when the majority of what you make is nerdcore songs? Because I can't think of a better definition.
I mean, it has to either be that or just self identification.
Yeah,
Just don't really have any other way to figure that out.
yeah. I think with nerdcore, seeing as it is such a heavily online based um music format, um, I feel like more than with a lot of other genres, like having like an involvement in the community and like in the scene and like yeah, just like generally being online and in contact with other nerdcore artists seems to be one of the like one of the requirements. Um, but it's it's interesting when you have. I feel like because I feel like more than like anime rapper and whatever other like general nerdcore rapper or gamer rapper or whatever, like more than any of those distinctions, I feel like the biggest distinction in nerdcore is um people who are more about performing live and then people who are more about like posting content. um
Right.
so to me that's like really the difference between like the stage rappers and the weekly rappers, and there's some crossover there. I feel like NLJ is a good example of somebody who like posts a lot online but then also is like very much a live guy. But I feel like especially in this past year, like we've really seen the rise of a lot of like weekly anime rappers,
Yeah.
and that's sort of I don't know, maybe tipped the balance a little bit of what nerdcore is expected to be. But
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean
I
it's
think
oh go ahead.
there is like I think another like kind of a gap that we may have seen people may have pushed between some of the anime rappers, I guess, is that there does seem to be like a difference in like source between people coming from kind of the same roots as like, say the Frontalats and the Megarans compared to people who came more from like a lot of these SoundCloud rappers with like anime, with like one or two anime bars every now and then, or
Mm-hmm.
like an anime aesthetic. And then
Yeah.
them saying like, what if we did that, but like, kicked it up a little bit? And I think they see themselves as different because of it, which I would
Yeah.
say like they are different. Like the music is different, but I wouldn't say that makes a whole separate genre.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think I think sometimes with like um the idea of like sort of wanting to make nerdcore songs but not be identified as a nerdcore artist. Um, I think um it definitely makes sense if it's sort of like, this is just something you want to try out. Um, I feel like at some point, if like if your nerdcore stuff is more popular than your non-nerdcore stuff, and is like the reason why you have a presence, like it might be disingenuous to not refer to yourself as a nerdcore artist at that point, even if it's like temporarily being a nerdcore artist. I feel like that would just be the case of like that's just what you're most known as. Like if you want to be known as something else, like you could you could do something else. But then
Yeah,
again, it's
and
like
it's like no one said that just because you're a nerdcore artist doesn't mean that you're only that.
right,
It's like if somebody
yeah.
talked to Childish Gambino and said like, "Well, you're a rapper," it doesn't mean he's not also an R&B artist. Like that would kind of
Right.
be ridiculous. So I don't know why people feel
Yeah.
like that's a thing in nerdcore. Like
I
you can
mean,
be more than thing.
like, for people like Strawberry, I mean, and for like for me for that matter. Oh, welcome Barlander Girl and Raiders. Um I don't
Welcome, readers.
welcome Raiders. I don't know that I've seen you around here before. But welcome. Welcome to the Breakfreeced Club. We're recording an episode with Is That Frost?
That is me.
This is my nerdcore podcast, essentially. Hello, sirs, says Neandrew Tall, or possibly Angus McDonald, one of the two. But welcome in. Yeah, let's see. Let me see if I can pick up find that thread where it fell. Um, let's see. We were talking about Neanderthal
Last thing I
says
said was about oh, first person to get that right first try.
first
Good
person to
work.
get that right first try. I've been around here. I've gone through the balance arc a time or two.
The last thing I was talking about was that like just because you're a nerdcore artist doesn't mean that you can't also be another type of artist.
Right. Yeah. So like, and I was yes, that's what I was gonna say. Is so people like Shwabadi or me for that matter, like have done like before we did nerdcore or even like I don't know what his I don't remember what his like precise timeline is. Pretty sure he was doing folk before he ever started rapping.
Right.
But like yeah, like I was writing like and performing folk songs, and like some pop punk stuff, like, but mostly folk. Like before I mean I did my first like rap performance like less than 2 years ago. Not counting like one time at a high school talent show. um and like before that, yeah, I'd done tons of like folk performances, but it's like I'm a nerdcore artist. I'm also a folk artist, but like the one that's more relevant right now is that I'm a nerdcore artist. So if I were to like introduce myself as a musician, like that's what I would say because it's most of what I'm making right now. Uh, now if I'm introducing myself to somebody's like grandpa, I might say I write folk songs because I can't bank on someone's grandpa unless they're really cool. Uh, knowing what nerdcore is.
Right.
Given that I can't bank on like the average person on the street knowing what nerdcore is.
Yeah. I get it from like a marketing perspective to,
Yeah.
label yourself a certain way. But I feel like if it's just like in casual conversation, you're just talking about yourself. I don't know why people are afraid of of kind of any label really. It's like just because you have one label doesn't mean you're another as
Yeah.
well.
And even if you're a nerdcore rapper, like it's perfectly justifiable to say that you're a rapper. And then
Yeah.
you can talk about topics later.
Right.
But it's like that's yeah, and it kind of goes back to what we're saying about like genre being defined by topic rather than musical style.
Yeah. It's like if you're a gangster rapper and like you did a non-gangster rap song, it's like that's okay. Like I don't know
Yeah.
how else to say it. Like that's fine.
Yeah. Uh I mean it's is it unusual when somebody who normally raps just breaks out into song? Like yeah, but it's it's a thing that's been done on some albums. So,
Yeah,
you
people
know.
get over it.
Yeah. Um so here's what everyone really wants to know. Uh what's is there another Frost album in the works, and will it have another Lyndon VA feature?
I would have to convince Lyndon, but I would be perfectly open to that.
I need to know.
So there will be another Frost album at some point. I don't know what it will be. I have been thinking of a Christmas album because I feel like that would be fun.
Okay.
But yeah, it just the idea when the ideas come, I get in the booth, I guess.
Welcome Tev, who asks, "Why does Frost sound like a robot?" Frost sounds pretty much fine. It's Discord audio. What do you want from me, Tev? We're not in the booth. Did you think this was an actual cafe? I love you. Don't press me. Fair enough. Fair enough. Lyndon says, "I don't take much convincing. Christmas album. Let's go." There you go. You got your feature. I need to hear at least 80 or 90 more snakes. Or
the whole
some other
Venom
animal.
was for the Venom series to die, but people just want more.
I mean, that's the unfortunate truth, is that sometimes by trying to kill something, you spark its revival.
All right. Venom Unlimited featuring Lyndon VA coming out 2022. You heard it here first.
Lyndon says, "Snakes are played out. I'm all about fish now." All about fish. Oh yeah, you like fish? Name every fish.
Don't. He'll do it.
That was really that song in a nutshell. It was like, oh yeah, you like snakes? Name every snake. Kind of want to hear a version of that now with the what's it the the villain music from TikTok. Oh, that just sounded like the most boomer thing. The villain music from TikTok, the Spider-Man from YouTube. Chris Kringle diss track. Surely you mean Chris Tingle or Kif Jingles or Ross sounds like he's in a hollow tube. Wow, everyone's just really coming for your mic. What's up, Shara? Hope you're doing well. I think your mic sounds perfectly fine. Neandrew Tall says he does sound a little T1000. Discord has done worse to people's audio. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, it is what it is.
Throw a little respect on the compression algorithm. This isn't Pied Piper. This isn't Silicon Valley. We don't have that middle out compression going on for us. Anyone watch Silicon Valley? Oh, and what's good, Breton? Who says check if he has voice mod left on. I'll keep it a buck with you, Breton. We're about 5-10 minutes from ending this episode, so it might not be
It's
this
too
might not
late
be
to
the
do.
time. But we'll bear it in mind. Um okay, so here's my last critical information that I need. Um what's the key to a fire soundboard? And could you sort of break down your soundboard philosophy?
Okay, so the key to the fire soundboard, right, is you want to have sounds for every sort of emotion,
Okay.
and then once you've done that, it's finding the most degenerate sounds that you could ever find. You see something on YouTube or Twitter, it's like, hey, that would be funny on the soundboard. You don't think about it too hard.
Uh-huh.
You don't think about like, well, what situation would I use this in? You failed. Don't ask that question. Just download the sound and put it on the board. You'll figure it out after the fact.
Uh
You know?
yeah, you use a physical soundboard, right?
No, it's a
No.
digital one through voice mod.
Oh, okay. Voice mod soundboard. So that's why you have so many like buttons.
Yeah, so it's like, when would I ever, use this? I don't know, but you just got to download it,
Yeah. So that's probably means since it's digital, your labeling system is probably easier. Because that's one thing that I worry about
See,
with like
that's what you would think, right? But
okay.
no, I put no effort. I just kind of put everything in there with their default file names, and it makes it difficult.
Maybe that's the spring cleaning that's needed is just going through labeling every button perfectly. I've been thinking since I'm on what's it called? There's a site. I think it's my instance. There's there's a lot of just soundboard buttons, and you can search stuff up. And I was thinking about maybe trying to use that on stream. So for instance, it's actually where I got some of my Twitch notification sounds. So like this one, for instance.
Rawr, I'm a dinosaur!
Which I don't think you would have heard, Frost, but everyone on stream would
I
have heard.
definitely did not hear. It's okay. Chat, describe it to me.
That's my follower sound, the "Rawr, I'm a dinosaur."
Oh, okay.
But if I wanted to look up like Among Us, I don't. Okay, they don't have that. A lot of these are very explicit, so I have to kind of. Also, some of them are incorrectly labeled, so you gotta be careful. You hit the wrong one, it's just like, bruh. That was the bruh sound.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been thinking about maybe making use of that. Oh no, Tev redeemed. Try to do an accent. Tev, I'm not gonna do your accent. I'm not trying to get canceled. I'm not trying to get canceled with 5 minutes left. I specifically
We're
said
so close to the finish line. You can't do it.
when I set up that point reward, I specifically said no accents that are gonna get me canceled. That was the rule. That was the deal. I'll attempt any UK accent. I'll attempt a lot of European accents. I'll attempt Australian, New Zealand, Canadian, any US accent. Anything that won't get me canceled, I'll attempt. I almost just fell off my chair. Tev says he's discriminating on me because I'm black. That's insane. You hate to see it.
But he's discriminating for you for the better.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
Hold on.
Hold on.
It's a separate but equal discrimination.
Well, I don't. Hold on. Who knew that it was going to be in the last 3 minutes that I was just going to get taken off the air, handcuffed, and shipped away? Tev, please pick an accent. I'm gonna go Dr. Umar on you. Oh no, who's Dr. Umar? Oh, call Dr. Umar. Who's Dr.
Yeah,
Umar?
we'll have to educate you on on Dr. Umar after the stream.
I guess so. The soundboard question is my last question. So, Tev, if you have a non-cancelable accent that you want me to do before the episode ends, do a South African accent. Okay, I can actually try that. I have to just remember what the guy sounded like in that one movie that I saw, because it's like Australian but a little scarier. Okay, like, oh man, you don't want to go over there. That might be difficult for you. That's about the best I can do, and I know that sounds a little bit New Zealandy. But
I feel like it was in an acceptable range.
it was ballpark.
Where, yeah. To where unless they were from South Africa or neighboring areas, they're not going to press you on it.
Yeah.
That was a South African accent.
Because the only other like South African accent I could call to mind is Trevor Noah, and I don't want to do Trevor Noah. But yeah, hopefully that was acceptable. He's black. Yes, Tev. Yes, Tev. Actually. This is tough. This is tough. Hang on, am I about to get canceled for not doing a black voice on stream? Somebody inform me here if that's the case. Oh no! I got 3 bros in chat. This is tough.
This is like the highest black ratio chat I've seen in a while, dude. Tev, Dig, and Shara here. Lyndon went quiet. It's just black.
How did I end up in this situation? Somebody explain to me. Thanks everybody for listening to the Breakfreeced Club. Tev, I'm not gonna say that.
Oh my lord! Alyssa came in to ease the ratio.
Oh my god. Andrew Tall says, all I can think of is Tev, Diggs, and Sharon T-posting on Freest. I feel so bullied right now.
Say it, Freest. Just say it. I'll say it with you.
No, not the Samuel Jackson. Thanks for listening to the Breakfreeced Club, everybody. Frost, thanks so much for coming on. Where can people find you online?
You can find me everywhere on isthatfr0st with the 0 for the O. YouTube and Twitter mostly. Yeah. Oh, check out Nerdcore Central as well.
Yeah. Who you got on this week?
Next we have Kuroshi.
Let's go.
Yeah, it should be a fun time.
Yeah. Y'all can find me on Twitter at @mefreest, Instagram at freestraps, TikTok at freest, youtube.com/freest. I'm 25 subs away from 3,000, and with 2 or 3 days left in the month, if I hit 3,000, I'm gonna do a Twitch concert next month. So may happen, may not. It's gonna be pretty close either way.
If you guys don't subscribe, I will physically hurt you.
Okay. Just a quick sort of bodily threat from Frost right there at the end. It's just always how we like to end.
It really flew off the rails at the end, didn't it? We had a nice conversation about nerdcore as a genre, and then it kind of devolved into something else entirely.
Yeah, you know what? For everyone in the chat, I'm gonna just put the most important link is youtube.com/freest. I accidentally just spelled that free seed. Oh no. There we go. So drop me a sub if you like anime rap, or if you want to support me once I apparently inevitably get canceled on my own stream. Thanks for listening to the Breakfreeced Club. I've been Freest. That's Frost.
Frost.
Thank you for listening to the Breakfreeced Club, and I'll talk to y'all later. Take care.